and 91.5 FM and WAPB 91.7 FM. Super excited. I've been waiting all week for this. So you guys introduce yourself and what is your business?
My name is Mark Sias.
And I am Grace Sias, and we are Noble Notary and Legal Document Preparers in Port Orange, Florida. You can reach us at 321-283-6452.
And you're one of our new business sponsors, so thank you so much for sponsoring. Isn't it neat hearing your spot over the air?
Yeah, it is. Even so much for the kids. They're like, what? Was that you, Dad?
And it's cute because that was when my son was little. The first time he heard me, he asked, "How did she get in the radio?"
Right.
You know, I mean, it was just the neatest thing, isn't it? I loved it that you took a picture of it and put it up on Facebook. That was really cool.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your backstory before we got to where you are today.
Okay, you want to start?
Yeah. So I was a critical care nurse. So I worked intensive care, and backstory before that, we got married in 2008 in Michigan, and we actually honeymooned here in Florida. And I grew up in Florida. Grace grew up in Michigan, but we honeymooned in Florida, and I took her to where I grew up, to New Smyrna, when we got back from the cruise. And it's funny, we actually had dreamed of moving here. You know, we kind of talked about that, and then lo and behold, wasn't even a year later, I think I got a job offer to come down here, and they paid for the move and everything. So that in itself there's a whole testimony there about how that happened.
As a nurse, you moved here?
Yep.
Okay, so we needed you that bad, huh?
At that point.
Yep. So were you working or anything?
I wasn't working. I was actually in college in Michigan, and we only had one child at the time. And God just uprooted us and said, "You're going to Florida," which was amazing and a blessing. I mean, it's beautiful here. I do not miss snow in Michigan, but we ended up having 3 more children here, little Floridian babies, little beach babies. So
I'm a Florida girl, so I'm glad you had more here.
Perfect. Yes. And the plan was I stayed home and raised our children and did the, shuttling back and forth church and birthday parties, and Mark worked and took over that responsibility. So it was grueling. Mark will attest to it being, it's grueling, him having to work and me staying home.
All that.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. So it was a different life, that we lived. Not a lot of people did that. Most couples, both of them worked, and kids did childcare, but we did it a little bit differently. So it was a time. It was a season for us, but
there's a new season now.
There's a new season.
Yep. So we worked, as a nurse, you don't really pick your schedule. It's kind of picked for you, oftentimes last minute.
And longer than you expect, too, because if there's a critical case or somebody's coming in,
you
get to stay.
So your nights, weekends, holidays, those are all kind of up in the air. It's a very stressful job. And the higher pay end of that is doing what you call agency or contractual work. And so I had gravitated towards that. So that was pretty comfortable living. I mean, it's a pretty comfortable living other than it being a hard job. It was very stressful, traveling, working, missing a lot of important things. So I always wanted to find a way out of that. And putting that into action was that's another story, which we'll talk about. I mean, so transitioning into that was, there was some other miracles that took place there too, but that job in itself, and at this season of my life when I transitioned, that was hard on our marriage too. So
yeah,
I'm sure, because you went from a secure knowing there's this much money coming in, and that was the only income. So all of a sudden, God pushes you to another adventure, doesn't He?
We were in a new adventure, and stressful financially. There was a lot of uncertainties, I guess. So it was a huge test really in our marriage. I will say that, and that's another whole, again, we've had so many testimonies in our lives, but that's another testimony that God really, carried us through to get to where we are now. He, at the beginning, was selling life insurance. So I was still staying home. He had quit. He's like, I'm done with nursing. I'm going to do this. And we went, full force into that. I helped him with it. And then just kind of stumbled upon Notary, this Notary world, this, niche within
It's
the
quite
notary
a niche
world.
you guys figured out.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it really is, because I've been a notary forever, okay? But I'm just like a notary for me at the station, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
yeah.
I never thought about what you, and I tell you, my brain has been going 90 miles an hour since I met you guys. I have even told a couple of my friends that are trying to figure out at this stage in their life, you know, what to do. I've said, well, I met these people, and I started telling them. So, and I don't even really know the whole scheme,
Yeah.
you know, so that's why I'm excited for
Well,
today.
yeah, we're going to go into it.
And don't you
We'll
train
unfold.
people?
We do train people. Yeah,
Okay,
and we'll
that
talk
was,
about that.
let's
So-
talk.
Yeah.
So get me excited, because I'm excited to hear.
So when I left nursing at the last one I had in 2019, they gave me a bonus. So I had some time to burn, and I had this insurance license, and selling to people you know is easy,
Right.
But then when you
Cold
have to
calls.
start selling to people you don't know, and marketing, that's no part of nursing has anything to do with marketing. You don't learn any of that. You learn it's all drugs and
well, they all need
procedures
you.
Right.
And when you're nursing, they're
Right.
depending on what you can do for them, not how you can help them with their
Yep.
future
Nope,
or
it's
whatever.
completely different. So we had struggled through that. And what's really interesting is at one point, and I want to say this was the first month of 2020. Actually, yes. I don't know. You know who Stephen Hogue is? Mm-hmm. Yeah, amazing guy. So we were, I think it was, they call it Seek Week. They don't call it Prayer and Fast. But,
Seek Week at church, yeah.
at church. So we were actually in, I think she was in the nursery. You weren't there for that. She was in the nursery, and it was, I believe, a Wednesday night, and Stephen Hogue was there, and he's doing his thing. And at this point, I'm almost ready to call it quits on this. I'm almost ready to go, all right, you gave it a college effort. You poured into this.
We were struggling.
And maybe it's time to go back to work. And I mean, those were literally swimming through my head.
Because you're the provider of the family.
Right.
And so you're laying all this out, and reality's hitting you.
It's just not working like it should. And so Stephen Hogue is there, and he's up there, and he's prophesying about this and this one. I'm sitting right in the middle of the church by myself. She's back in the nurse. There's nobody around me. And there's a gentleman right over here. He's about ready to quit his business, but God says, don't do it. He's going to turn it all around. And I'm about to tear up.
That's okay.
babe.
No, that's
So I'm like, he's talking about me. He must be talking about me. And I told her after that, I'm like, Stephen Hogue was like, Stephen Hogue had this, he was talking about this, turning this business around. I'm like, he had to be talking about me. I mean, he pointed right to where I was. There was nobody around me. So I don't think I'm supposed to go back to work yet. I think there's something's going to happen. And it wasn't weeks later, I had this idea. And I'm like, I got this idea. And at this point, we got nothing to lose.
The thing about Mark, and I will say, which is really cool, the way that God speaks to him is through, like, he'll wake up in the middle of the night with an idea, just like,
a vision,
just something, and he'll wake up and just like, Grace, I think this is, I think we need to do this.
That's
and
how my dad was. He's a visionary.
It's incredible. So I'm just like, okay, we just go with it. We pray about it. We go with it. So he wakes up with this idea
to get this notary commission, and just kind of what to do with it.
So you weren't even a notary at that point?
Oh, no.
And this is COVID also going on, right?
It's
COVID.
at the beginning of it, yeah.
just is about beginning, yes.
And so I got this. So long story short, because we'll get on to the rest of what we do and how it's continued to grow, but long story short, within 3 months, I'm saying you got to be a partner with me on this. I got too much business to do. I can't do this all on my own. I'm turning away business. And this is a great opportunity. So
right at the beginning of COVID, which is so, like, it still blows my mind looking back on it, that we started a business together and just were so blessed. You know what I mean? It was a blessing. COVID ended up being a blessing.
It was a blessing to me too. I mean, there were some things in my life that were taken away that broke my heart, but then there were other things in my life that, like, we never shut down one day here.
I know.
Never
incredible.
ever.
So
and
cool.
We've had people that had COVID and all those things, but we just juggled and worked around it and figured it out, and but we kept going the entire time. And people go, well, didn't you like close? No. And then because I know so many people, God kept saying, you get those products for people, because I would know store managers or whatever, and I would know when a truck would come, and I would never do it, the crazy woman that would take it all and not leave any. But I had a lot of elderly people that couldn't get out, and God provided. I mean, it was just, I would have Lysol spray when nobody else had it. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to give it to elderly people.
Wow.
So God can do anything with anything, can he?
At any point.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it when
really
he does perfect timing.
It was. And you don't really, I mean, I guess we were kind of just taking the steps day by day. But looking back on it is really, really cool. You know what I mean? Like in hindsight, seeing
Well, you were
the way
surviving at the time. You
we
were just
trying to survive.
Right. Well, really, that's what it was. It was just trying to figure out each day because nobody knew what each day was going to bring. So when you do it that way, though, and like you said, when you look back, but God, but God, but God.
Exactly. We were very, very blessed.
I can't even believe you got your notary stamps during that time because, you have to fill out all this paperwork and
it was literally, I think February he got his notary commission. March was really when COVID was like hit. And then I think I got mine in April, I want to say. So it was all right around that
major
time.
Things closed down. You know, like the FCC closed down, the IRS closed. I mean, all those big things shut down.
Yeah.
So it's amazing you got it.
It was really cool.
We were just rocking.
But isn't that cool?
It's
how
crazy.
God did that?
It's just the simplicity of it because the idea was so this being a mobile.
So what was
notary
the actual idea?
Was to be a mobile notary. Was to just simply offer to come to people.
And you've
with
never heard of that? Because I've never heard of it.
Well, looking back, we realize it's been around forever, but
it hasn't.
It hasn't. It hasn't. We specialize in real estate closings, so that's mainly what we do. Now we do a lot of mobile notary where we go into hospitals and we notarize wills and different forms. People come to us in our home office, but we specialize in real estate closings. So it was, again, there too, during COVID, people were still buying and selling. Like the market was still
starting to
really,
boom,
it was booming. And so we would go into people's homes and there were so many awesome things that we got to talk to people about. The fear that I saw in people while doing a transaction, closing, they're selling their house or whatever it might have been. There was so much fear during that time with people. And to go in and just to have like a peace of God and just be the calm to be like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to handle this. It's okay. You're not going to get sick. Like it was really, we saw some really, really cool things. We still do. I mean, I could go on stories and stories of people we've talked to and different things, but
and that those testimonies are what encourage people also. So I would love to hear a couple of those cool things that happened because it was an uncertain time for a lot of people, and there was people that lost jobs and different things, and so it was a big time. And there wasn't jobs right to go to. Now we have too many jobs, but there was a lot of weird things during that time, and I had the peace the whole time too. I never ever worried about those things. And it was because of God, because he gave me the strength to get up every day and say, we got this.
I know.
You're going to be the light in the tunnel, and it just was amazing. But when you hear people that were so struggling and wondering, and I didn't ever have that. I didn't ever run out of the toilet paper. I didn't never have food. I didn't never not have a job.
Same. So, we have 4 kids, and that's a lot of toilet paper. And we always had it.
But you know what I'm saying? So but you could reach people at their level because of just walking in and fixing one thing for them, taking care of one thing off of their plate. And when you take care of one thing, then another thing happens, and then another thing happens.
Exactly.
It was a big deal to people to be there. It was just to come in confidently, and there were lots of times we would go in, we would get a call from a title company, and they're like, "Hey, they both have COVID. Can you still go in and do this?" And I'm like, "I got this. God, we got this."
Actually, it became a competitive marketing advantage because we
would
had
just
no fear.
Go in and just do the signing and. We're protected and no mask actually, like at the time. But
wear a mask.
We didn't wear a mask. No, we didn't. But it just the protection of God. It was like we prayed and it was good, and our families were healthy and just a blessing. That. It was really, really cool.
Well, I never had it either, and I had people, lots and lots of people here. We're all sharing mics and headphones and all that stuff, and it was just like, Lysol became my best friend, but
we meet people where they're at. If that makes them comfortable, we do that. Otherwise,
totally. I mean, that's how I am here too. I have them available. I have everything available.
Of course,
if you want me to do it, and also being courteous. Like I had friends that were on chemo. And so if they were coming here, I'm going to do whatever you need me to do so that we don't have to worry.
And we did too. We're lots of people, they were afraid. They wanted us to wear a mask. We're going into their homes.
Right.
So it was, our responsibility to respect and honor their wishes. But 9 times out of 10, people were still very welcoming, and it opened the door to talk about God. And
that's really cool, though, that your business took off during that time.
It took off, yep. And like I said, there's a bit of a marketing advantage there. We actually had several title companies that were like, look, we'll go right into the hospital. If your client's wanting to close in the hospital, we'll go in there. I'm being a nurse, it's nothing. Mm-hmm. But she has that, same thing. She has that confidence of God. And she also knows from me, it's like, you don't really have anything to worry about. You're gonna be
That's
all right.
cool.
So that worked out, and that first year was just a year of a lot of growth and a lot of work. And then from there, we started figuring out the whole marketing thing that they don't teach nurses.
Well, then Mark woke up with a lot more ideas. But
your
really,
brain was just going on.
He really was. We just started adding services upon services. But one of the biggest things that we do that we really love, it's my personal favorite, is preparing legal documents for people. Because, in the good state of Florida, you can prepare your own legal documents. It's a pro per se law or state. And a lot of people are intimidated by doing that. They don't want to prepare their own will, or
I don't either.
Lady Bird deeds are huge. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we offer this service. What we were seeing as we were talking with people at the table closing,
there was a need for it.
There was a need. It was just kind of a natural conversation of like, okay, well, what are you going to do to protect your assets when you pass away? Death is imminent. The COVID was happening. People were getting sick, and it really just naturally segued. And it's one of my personal favorites. We talk about the Lady Bird deed. So that's, you can deed your home to somebody. When you pass away, you have full, power over it while you're alive, but you can leave it up to 4 people. And
see, I never knew it was like that. I thought it was just a quick claim deed. Is it kind of the same thing as a quick claim?
So if you do a quick claim deed, then they're actually on
immediately
the deed.
Okay.
So some people want to deed it to their children. Well, if you go refinance, now your child is involved in that whole thing.
Okay.
So this is only upon death.
Okay, so it's kind of like your power of attorney is only good. Like if I gave you my power of attorney, it's only good while I'm alive, and as soon as I die, that power of attorney is no longer.
Correct.
So it's kind of the opposite way, but
with real property,
right? But that's a good way of that's and for my brain that would be the way I look at it.
There you go.
Okay,
so probate's a big deal. Like avoiding probate, nobody wants. You don't want to leave that for your loved ones because a lot of people put their home in a will and they think it's protected. And going to somebody and educating them, and saying, unfortunately, it's not protected. That'll go into probate, and then the people that you love, that you've left it to, have to jump through hoops to get that property, either to sell it, to refinance it, to move into it, whatever they're gonna do. It's a you don't want to
educating people.
We're educating and we're helping, and it's like when you see the light go off with them, they're like, "Oh wow, I didn't know I could do that," and we can prepare it for a fraction of the price that an attorney would charge you. I mean, I've heard attorney, prices. It's a hefty amount, so we prepare those because we can at a lower cost.
What kind of documents can you prepare?
Anything really.
So you can't offer legal advice to people. So that's the caveat, is that we're not attorneys, so we don't give legal advice. But if you know what it is, what form you want, we can put that
so
form
if we
into,
say to you,
yes,
we need a power of attorney, or we need a
no, you can give information.
Sure.
So obviously there could be a bit of a blurred line between information and advice.
Right.
Yeah, so you can give information if it's a fact that this is what a ladybird does.
No, like you just told me, I didn't know what that was.
And not saying you need to get a ladybird.
I'm not advising you to get one.
Yeah,
right.
You decide based on this information, I want it. You can implement that pro se.
But that's pretty cool.
That's really cool. Yeah,
but that's my favorite thing to do, because we end up meeting these people just at a real estate transaction, and then we're in their homes the next week helping them prepare their will. I mean, really intimate stuff, but the peace of mind that they have after we've prepared all that and set, your home is your largest asset. So after that's kind of settled, I love to give that to people because they can have that peace of mind just knowing, I mean, we redid our power of attorney, we redid it all, our will and everything, because our children are growing, and I cried during writing it because it's a hard thing to do. But after the fact, knowing that we had everything in place, it's just a piece that you have, just something, so I like to help that.
It's weird because when you're younger, you think, well, I don't ever need that. And then you get married and you think, well, I really don't need that yet because I'm going to live this. But nowadays, there's so many things that could happen. And you
don't know.
I think more about things that could happen than I used to think. I have a book. So I have like my mom always said, have a binder and have it broke down with the different things because even though my mom was like so ready with her binder, we still had to probate. And I was like, how is that?
Yeah.
Because of one little thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was in shock over that. So like right now, me and Tim are getting like really, really organized. And every time I think I'm really, really organized, like 3 minutes ago, I thought I was doing really good until you said Ladybird. And now I'm thinking, okay. But isn't that funny?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've already went through probate. You know what I'm saying? So when I did mine, I thought, oh, I'm good. And then now I just learned something new.
Yes. And you don't want to overthink and be full of fear, obviously.
Oh, yeah, there's no fear here.
No.
It's just that you want to also, not like you just said, I don't want my daughters or my son to have to, at that moment, have to rethink something.
It's the last thing you want to do when somebody you love passes
the probate,
away.
even in Volusia County, where they try to make it pretty simple, it's still a bit of a headache. There's some hoops to jump through. So there's fees. The fees to go through the probate process are more expensive than a Ladybird deed. I mean, so
it's true.
It makes perfect sense. So.
But, like I said, I didn't know till 3 minutes ago. So, that's a huge thing that there's no book out there, unless you wrote one, that tells you what to do. Do you follow what I'm saying? There's not like a guide that really tells you the whole thing to do. And I think attorneys are wonderful. I have an attorney, so they are wonderful.
Of course.
But sometimes, they're just getting certain things done for you also.
Right.
So,
and there's people who are coming, hey, we've got this, and we're like, you need an attorney. Like we are way out. You're way outside.
And we
of
have,
our scope.
like a family friend that will advise. We'll push to them and we'll say, hey, this is above our scope. We can't do this. So, God bless attorneys as well. We can just do it at a fraction of the cost, if it's something simple. So we specialize in estate planning, but of course we do other things as well as far as legal documents. So we kind of just
really
do it
cool
all.
That you're able to put that in. I mean, I'm just a notary is the way I look at it, but I hear you marry people too, right?
We marry people, yes. So
Mark marries people.
Mark marries people. So obviously being on the beach.
In public.
I like doing it. It's fun. It's great.
I've done 3. I've done 3 so far. Yeah. So it's kind of cool, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, I like doing it. Being here in a beach
loves
town.
Love.
Yeah.
Why not?
People want to get married on the beach, and I think I guess maybe it's a bit of a task to find an officiant that wants to do that.
It actually is. It's funny to find, like, if you're not involved in a church, or maybe one of you doesn't live here and is, there's just all kinds of things. And so, I've done like 3, and it's funny because I would have never thought becoming a notary, I was going to end up doing that.
Right.
But, God opened the doors, and everybody's still married. So, hey.
There you go. You did a great job.
Yeah, we know, we married people, we make no bones about that. I'm praying over you. The Lord's going to bless your marriage,
But that's another aspect people probably don't think about, that you can do that as a notary.
Yes. Yeah.
And you're a mobile notary, so you can come right to them.
Go anywhere.
So,
another thing I liked about you guys is that there's 2 of you. So a lot of people don't realize, as when you need to get something notarized, there has to be more than one person, doesn't there?
Yes.
Oh, that's a huge thing.
Witness is a package deal with our business model.
It is.
And that is amazing and awesome, because I thought that was great, because you're going to, now I'll go to a friend's house or whatever. I won't be like you guys, but I mean, if you have a friend and they need, but like I get there. Well, do you have a witness? What do you mean? You got to have somebody to witness. So that's really, and you can do that.
Yes, it happens all the time. We have a lot of people that come over and they need a quitclaim deed or a will or power of attorney that requires 2 witnesses, and they don't know. They're not looking the forms over like that. So thankfully, we're always there, and, I'll serve as a witness or vice versa. But we have gone into homes, even title companies who say, can you provide a witness? I'm like, come on, Mark, we're doing this. So.
No, and that's great.
Very simple.
That's another quality that for having your business.
Yep.
And as a person that's had to do it, I realized that there's a lot of times you need that witness.
Yes.
And, you can't just run around the street and get a witness.
And nobody random wants to sign just a form, even though they're
not familiar with.
Yeah, they're just witnessing the signature of the person, but nobody wants to do that.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
That nobody wants to do that
Nobody
too.
wants to do it.
You know. So okay. So walk us through when I telephone you. What happens? Do you go anywhere? Do you have a 25-mile radius? What is your scope of things?
That's a good question. So with pertaining to mobile notary, we charge a base fee for a 15-mile radius. Now, we will go further, and we actually have some subcontractors, too, that we will occasionally turf stuff off to if it's a little further.
Flagler County, Brevard.
Yeah.
So there's more of you.
There's more of us. We've got a few of them under us that will do stuff for us. And as far as like the legal documents, well, we could do it through the whole state. So it can just correspond them. Or we can do, if they want, and we've had this on quite a few occasions, we do remote online notary too. So I can send them a link and beam them up. And
Really?
we can, yep.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. Now,
So-
like say you came to me and you were going to notarize just something generic, okay? And then I found out that you could do a power of attorney. Are you able to like print right on the spot and do it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we can, it's a simple form. It just requires the information and signature of you.
So you have a laptop with you or whatever, and you can
Absolutely.
just do it right there, print it out, and move
Yep.
on.
Yeah.
That's a great service.
I've actually done that before. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
we
that
have,
is a
yep.
really great service because maybe you weren't thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of times you just don't think about it, and it's not that we don't know we need something. It's just that we've never met somebody, or we're not in the situation, and so we don't know. 'Cause
Right.
I'm sure at the hospital, there's a lot of things going on, and you need those forms,
You do.
and you don't really understand, and you don't know that you can get them.
Yeah, and I think it seems like a daunting task to people, like it's going to be really expensive or it's going to involve a lot of work, but it's such a simple thing, and we'd like to make it a simple, we get a lot of feedback from people like you guys made this really easy on us. Thank you for coming over and just being
Well, we're already in a
good
pressure
person.
situation when we're at the hospital. We're already pressured.
Yes.
Yes.
We don't want to hear the word death or machines or any of those things. We just don't.
Right.
We're going in for this thing. I don't want to know about all that other stuff. But this thing, you could have allergic reaction. Anything can happen. And you have to have those forms.
Yes.
And I don't feel like at the hospital you sign it as much. You know what I'm saying? You want to already have it done or have somebody that explains it better to you. And I'm not cutting down the hospital at all. I'm just saying I feel like they ask you, do you have it? If you say no, well, you can just sign it here. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you want to be informed and
Right.
prepared.
I wanna be
would
educated.
assume, yeah.
Well, but you don't. If you're by yourself and they're giving you this information,
Right.
you're going to sign something, and then you're going, oh my gosh, did I sign what?
What was it I just signed?
Right.
Yeah.
So I would rather have a person like you, a mobile person that would come to me and my family.
What do you want?
Right. And I like that.
Yeah.
What do you want? What would make you comfortable?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's huge. So I also know that you like to do a little bit more than just come to people and educate. You actually teach people, right? To
Yes.
become what you are.
Yes. So as business had continued to grow,
That's wonderful.
we wrote a book. We wrote a book called The Golden Pen.
And what is that? What is the golden pen?
So the Golden Pen is this idea that there's a business model or models, I should say, that are very low overhead. They're very low startup, and they are very high markup and very profitable. And they're also high demand, meaning that you don't have to, like a lot of businesses fail because of advertising expenditures or high startup capital. So the Golden Pen is about these different businesses that are pretty easy to get into, pretty high markup, pretty high profit, pretty reasonable demand. So not a whole lot of advertising necessary. And it's about us. I mean, it's about what we do.
It's our
Entrepreneurs
story. Yeah.
And your
Yep.
story. And, people like to follow stories that have worked.
Yep.
That
So-
we just do. We want to
Yeah.
know how you got here and how you made. So the book is like a play-by-play.
It's kind of like a 30,000 overview so it's a snapshot of different business models that follow what I would call having a golden pen, like your signature's gold. So that is it's like a broad picture of it to get a broad idea. Now we took that further. I'll let you explain some of that.
Wait, how do we get the book?
Amazon, Kindle, Google
Yes.
Play,
Okay.
Audible.
Well, that's good because I don't have one here, so he didn't bring me one.
We will bring
There's one in the car.
One in the glove
He's
box.
going to go grab one.
Run, Mark, run!
But it, like you said, it's just broad information. We do go into detail on the things that we've implemented in our business. So these side hustles, as you would call them, that complement the notary career. But during that time, we had a lot of people coming to us that were asking, how did you do this? How do we get started? Can you kind of walk me through, just simple advice?
You make it sound really easy, like you had your vision, and the next thing you know, you're notaries. The next thing you know, you're doing all this. Like I said, I've been a notary forever,
right,
and never thought any of this. So
there's some
exciting.
intellectual property and experience over the years that we're condensing for
right.
sure.
Absolutely.
I'm sure there's been a few things that didn't work.
Yes.
Well, you know what I'm saying?
It's trial and error.
Right.
So over the past 3 years, we have had these trials and errors, but ultimately we're super blessed. But, so we found that we were taking a lot of time, kind of mentoring people, and which was exciting. But that was a vision that I had December of 2021, I believe, before we started actually mentoring and a course that we end up condensing. But I saw us teaching people, in a simpler way. I'm like, God, we've got 4 children. There's church activities. I'm coordinator of the nursery. He's really the head of this business, always behind the computer. I'm like, we got to figure out a way to make this a little bit more streamlined.
I know you love people, and I can tell you like to help people.
Yeah.
But you also have to be able to have your life and your kids and your business.
Yeah. So I'm like, can we do it all? Like, how can we do it all?
Yeah. And so you figured a niche.
So we found another niche within this market. We started a mentorship program, it's pretty pricey, but we have mentored several people, but it's a 3-month, we walk you hand in hand. Those are the people that are like, I need you, I come along with me, and we walk them step by step. So we created a mentorship program, and then we realized that, that alone, that requires a lot of dedication and effort, which we love, and we love the people that we've mentored. But we were like, why not create a course?
I agree, because there's people like me who would want to do it, but I don't have time to either walk with you, and you don't have time to walk with me. Our schedules are 24 different ways. Yep. So that's a great idea.
It was such a great idea. We put everything we have learned.
Well, how would we find all this? Do you have a phone number? Do you have a website?
Yes.
How do we find all you?
So
all of the above.
We have it underneath our Facebook post, but tell us out loud, so everybody can hear.
So our phone number is 321-283-6452. Our main website is legaldocprepnotary.com. The course that she's describing, which again, we made that to where that is more realistic for people than paying for a coach. That is called Notary Prosperity Academy. We very selectively picked the name of that. So Notary Prosperity Academy, you could look at the information for that right off our website, legaldocprepnotary.com.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I've been checking you guys out. So it's been very neat to see how you took an idea and have made it, like where anybody really could do this.
Anybody. We have people from Ohio to California that have contacted us, and, a lot of people just buy the course, they just do it. But we have people that have emailed us and saying, would this be a good fit for us? We live here. What do you think? And we've looked at the demographics, and, most of the time it's amazing, unless you're in some really rural area
of the ocean that has 12 people.
That's probably not a good idea.
We always try to be straight up with people, like this business model does work. It works very, very well. There's going to be some stipulations. Obviously, the higher density the population, the more likely you are to thrive with the less effort. So that doesn't mean that if you are in a less populated area, it won't work. It just means that it's not going to maybe work as good as it does for us.
And am I going to have to work like 1,012,000,000 hours a week? Or am I going to be able to schedule my life? Am I going to be able to just say Fridays is my day? I can do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is like my most favorite part is that we have 4 children. There are a lot of people that have done the notary world and the loans and all of that and teach that. But most of the time they're single and they're in their 20s and we're like this, I'm not quite 40 yet, but in our 40s and 4 children and a lot going on in our lives. And we have done this and succeeded, and it's
didn't
just
miss a beat with those kids.
Didn't miss a beat. There's a growing period. We're like, mommy hasn't worked in 13 years, and now mommy's working. Like the kids are like, what
are you doing, Mom?
Where are you going?
But it's probably been good for them too.
I just feel like it's natural, it's good for them to see, we can still hold down the home and cook dinner and go to church and be dedicated and do what we have to do, but also see us go out and help people. They see people come into our home. They hear conversations with the people that we're talking to. So I think it's an awesome learning experience for them. Just
there's
life
not
experience.
An age defiance. So, because you can be a notary at any age.
Yep.
There's
no physical labor. There's no hard labor.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of time commitments. You really decide what you want to do and don't do. So,
and that's what I think is really great, because like right now, if you are working and you're getting close to retirement age or whatever, and you can say, you know what, I have 8 hours a week that I could do this. Well, that's your 8 hours. You get to decide.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
We have a ton of people, as just to jog back to what Mark had said. So we like to shoot people straight. So people will contact us and say, hey, do I do the mentorship program for this price tag, or do I buy the course at a very reasonable price? And we'll shoot them straight. Like, hey, what do you feel like you need? What this is what we're going to offer you. What do you feel like you need in this area of your life right now? A lot of times, I know this wonderful woman in Ormond. Her name's Fran. Hi, Fran. But she's retired too, and she just wanted to do a little bit of something. We gave her the course, and we're like, just take what you can from it and do as much or as little as you want. So it's really so flexible. We have a lot of people who just want to go gung-ho, and this is going to be their full-time career. This is what we do full-time. So you can do whatever you want with it.
Something interesting I found out recently is like I was at a friend that just died recently, and in her neighborhood where she lived like in a retirement neighborhood. They had a notary that was like for the retirement neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was the coolest thing, because when we were in crunch time trying to get everything done before she died, I didn't really want to notarize everything because I was best friends and I didn't want anything to come back and say, well, she did it because no. So there was a neighborhood notary. And I thought that was the neatest thing. And I thought, wouldn't that be cool if those areas had a person like you?
Why not?
That would do that.
Yeah, why not?
And that is a whole niche in itself right there.
Absolutely.
So I know that people that are retiring are people that maybe are in college going to nursing school that could juggle this.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because you can't go to nursing school and work, but you still got to live. So there's different ways to make it happen.
It's a viable way to create some, anything from pocket money to all the way up to 6 figures. And I'll tell you this, probably a lot of people don't know this, but notaries don't pay, you're not charged self-employment tax on your notary work because it's considered public service. So you automatically have a 15% reduction in taxes. So a lot of people don't know that, but there's a huge tax advantage there.
Just for being a notary.
Yep. If any notarial act that you do that you charge for, you don't pay self-employment tax on. So isn't that amazing? And that's an IRS tax code. So that is across the United States.
So you've learned these different things.
Oh yeah.
So you don't need to do anything else now that you have this mobile notary. You're succeeded enough that you can pay all your bills and do everything, right?
It's it's been a real blessing actually. In the last 2 years, my dad's health has declined. He recently passed away from Alzheimer's.
I'm so sorry.
But thank you. And but it's afforded us so much time and money. To be able to. We invested it in him. We took my dad all over the place, all over the state. We just we knew he was declining. We knew that this was the time to embrace. But
so you got to honor him.
Right. It afforded us that. It afforded us the time to spend with them, the flexibility of schedule. We just
Boy, that was priceless.
It
There's
is,
No,
yeah.
There's nothing you could put on that.
No, not at all. No,
You'll have that
it's,
forever in your heart, and your kids will see that, and everybody. So that's
Absolutely.
priceless. You just were a millionaire, and you don't even know it.
No, it is. I really feel blessed about it. And the other, we talk about your kids seeing your example. Our daughter actually, wants to follow in her footsteps. She's created this pet sitting, and I'm proud of her because she designed her own little business cards and put herself out there.
T-shirt.
Yeah. It's just neat to see that philosophy, rub off on them. So.
That's really cool. I like it that the kids see that you're working hard, but working hard at something you love, and that she saw that, and she says, "I can do that." And how old is she?
10.
Wow.
She's an animal lover.
Wow.
Yes.
She
but
did
at
really
10,
well
she
this
did all
summer,
that.
though. I was very impressed.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
burning a hole in her pocket.
Tithing and everything. But.
Yep,
Wow.
we teach her to tithe, and then she gets a certain percentage, so she's very responsible.
She's going to have the coolest new car when she turns 16 if she keeps
better.
this up, huh?
She better.
So give us information again. How do we get a hold of you? Website? Do you have Facebook? Do you have social media?
All of the above. Yep.
Okay, so tell us the best way to get a hold of you.
Well, our phone number is 321-283-6452, and that's our business line, so that reaches both Mark and I.
You can text through that number.
Yeah,
as
you
well.
can text that number as well if you have a need, or if you're curious about the course or the mentorship program. Also, go to legaldocprepnotary.com. So that gives a full breakdown of everything that we do, our credentials. You can see our face now, but you'll get to see our face, who we are, what we do.
We've got a YouTube channel. We've got all of it.
No, I like it that we
Yeah.
get to know you before you do come to our house or to our business or to the hospital room or whatever, because it's all weird. I mean, let's get weird. The world is different now, and you have to check on things because there is bad people out there. So
Of
I like it
course.
that you put yourself out there
Absolutely.
and let us know you.
People
so that
feel like they know you. We've had clients who are like, "We saw you on YouTube. We saw your video," and so they feel like they know you.
Right. So before you
So,
walk in,
yeah.
we already feel like we have a relationship with you. So we're not intimidated or feel like, oh, what are they going to do to us? Or,
Yeah, we want it to be comfortable. Every transaction, every situation, everybody we meet, really, we just, that's why we named it Noble Notary.
I was going to ask you, why did you name
Yes,
it?
we did. I know. I was like, it should be Sias, our last name, and it was like, no, let's do Noble, where it's a good, solid quality, and that's what we try to represent. We're just human beings, obviously, and we make mistakes, and we're just human, but we try to, over deliver on the things that we do, and be generous with our time for people, and just kind of give. And we want our kids to see that. We want other people to see that. And
That was another thing. How about timing with people? I've just telephoned you. I feel like I'm in crisis mode. I need 18 pieces of paper done.
Sure.
And are you going to upfront say, well, when we walk in, we have 5 minutes? Or do you understand what I'm saying?
Great questions, yeah.
How's the
It's a great
scheduling with this?
Oddly enough, we are great in a pinch. I don't know
Because
how that
to me,
is,
I'm in
but-
crisis mode, and I need these 18 things done, but I want to know, how is it going to work out?
yeah, for an example, we have had people who have come to our house there was a gentleman getting ready to go into the hospital that didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Got bad news. He was with his daughter. He needed power of attorney right then, right there. He's like, which required a witness. So it required both our time to be there. And I think we were driving, and he's like, okay, meet us at the house
be here
in 5 minutes.
I'll have it drawn.
Yeah.
Now.
We drew up the power of attorney. So we're really kind of, generous with our
Considerate of
time.
what people are
Considerate.
Yep.
If we go into somebody's home, same thing. Thankfully, my mother-in-law lives right around the corner here. And thank you, Sherry. She's watching our youngest daughter right now.
We love mother-in-laws.
Yes, we do. And my mother lives just the neighborhood over, and she's always really helpful with the kids too. So if there's ever a time where somebody's, an emergency situation or the hospital or whatever, we make the time. We want to treat people the way that we would want to be treated.
I love that.
Always, really. Truly, that's what anybody really wants. So,
But there's not a lot of people out there that are
aren't.
considerate about that,
Yeah.
because when we're in our crisis mode, we're in that crazy mode, and we just need help. And sometimes, I can see you tomorrow at 9.
yeah.
Well, tomorrow at 9 might not
It's not
work.
working, right? It's not gonna work, yeah.
I'm like, hey, I'm cooking dinner and my kids are in the bath, but come over and I'll notarize your 18 documents, and
Yep.
Mark
Well,
will be
see,
here to
that's
witness.
what I wanted you to say.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get you, because that is something very important.
We
is
have
that-
Yeah.
a lot, and this is probably worth mentioning too. We do have a lot of people that sometimes a title company or an attorney will just mail them stuff and go, here, go get it done. And this will save people a lot of time. Your bank won't do those things. They will not touch those documents.
I was waiting for you to say that, so thank you.
UPS store, they are very difficult to. They keep they keep worse than bankers' hours. We don't keep bankers' hours, but in those documents, we're experts at those real estate documents. So we know those like the back of our hand. So they're not going to get botched. If you take them to somebody who's not familiar with them, they might botch those documents. And then there's funding delayed. And so we've had a lot of that. We've had people come, oh, these are time sensitive. They got to be here. They got to be there tomorrow. And I'm like, here's, do you want me to print the FedEx label for you? You know, I mean, what level do you need? So we are great at that. We're great in a pinch, but those documents will be executed correctly. So,
and something that I thought was always interesting, that the person needs to initial each page, and a lot of times
somebody's got to be looking for that. Yeah.
No, and then
you want some second
it goes,
eyes on it. Yep.
And then they get rejected.
Yes.
And it's like, well, somebody should have saw that.
Somebody should have saw it. And we actually check our work often. I'm like, let me look, he'll be doing something and I'm double checking, making sure everything is where it needs to be, signatures and initials and all that. So second set of eyes is always good.
No, it's very good. So I like that also. So I've called you. I need my 18 document. What do you need from me, the customer? Do you understand the question?
Your photo ID.
Okay. That's what I wanted you to do.
We need to make sure you are.
Corroborating witness.
Yes, or somebody who can say that you are who you say you are. So, really, that's it. As far people are like, how do I pay you? It's just anything at this point. There's Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, write us a check, cash, whatever. So we take all forms of payment. People are really nervous about that. Like, I only have a debit card. Well, we have a debit card reader, so we just make it really convenient. But that's it, really. What do we need?
Well, that was the question I wanted to answer. How do we pay you, and how do we, what do we need? Because I had a situation over the weekend, and my ID was at the counter, and I needed it back, and there was a crisis. And I thought, oh my gosh, you don't realize till that moment that is important, that ID. So I always tell everybody, take a picture of it front and back and keep it in your phone under favorites, because you are going to know when I come to you or you come to me, you need proof who I am.
Exactly.
Yes, we're a corroborating witness, which we will have them sign an affidavit. So somebody's signing, somebody's guaranteeing that you are who you say you are.
Well, that's great to know also. Yep. So like when you come to the hospital, I might not have my ID because I didn't want to have it at the hospital, but my husband's there. So my husband
he has an
can
ID and he's a corroborating witness, we would pull out an affidavit, somebody swearing that you are who you are. And,
that was interesting to know that too. I love finding out details.
these little things. So, and even so, you said, what do you need? You don't even have to bring the papers to us, really. If a lender drops 100 documents on you and is like, hey, print them and go have them signed, and you're probably like, printer. You come to us.
That's what we do.
Got a laser printer, so we'll spit those things out in a minute.
Okay, because
we send them back to the lender too. We can scan them right back. So,
and that is really important because I love it that you'll check everything. I had got some insurance paperwork the other day for the station, and they had spelled my name wrong.
Oh.
And I noticed it, of course. And so, but it was like a crucial thing, right? And I was like, I'm not signing it. It's not going to be right. So I'm going to wait a minute. And I sent it back to him. They go, what? And I said, you didn't spell my name right. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you noticed that because it wouldn't have been insured.
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
Well, it's not a legal name. You know what I'm saying? So, but I thought, now, why didn't my insurance person notice that? But just think of how many people don't, and I'm sure you're very detailed, so I'm sure you notice those kind of things. I'm sure that's happened where it's like.
We definitely like the more important the document, definitely the closer we're scrutinizing it. If it's title work, man, is your name right there? Is that, do you know this other person on the title? Because if there's another name on there and they're a stranger, that might be a deal breaker. So we're pointing stuff out.
And mistakes happen, don't they?
They do. The same thing.
When people are getting 3 house closings today, it's very easy for a mistake to happen. So it's great to have another set of eyes looking at all that. Tell us again how we find you.
legal.prepnotary.com, and our phone number is 321-283-6452.
So I think we've covered everything, but is there anything else that you really feel like you do that we don't know about?
Mark?
Fingerprinting. We do fingerprinting.
We didn't mention that.
Yes.
Okay, and so what does that mean, fingerprinting? You actually will take all my fingers and print them, and why would I need a fingerprint?
Well, almost,
I know
almost
why.
everybody needs them now, right? So, yep. So your concealed weapons permits, the job applications, almost every job application, they're wanting to send it to a background checking company or directly to the FBI, who does backgrounds. And the FBI is they're still old school. They want them on those ink cards.
So you do that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we roll fingerprints.
Okay.
So
We roll fingerprints.
yes,
we do.
Yes, we do.
And I have to say that is a very wonderful thing, because when I did get my concealed permit and I had to go and get it done, it wasn't easy to find a place. And I felt like I was not welcome where I went. And I don't mean that disrespectful.
We get that a lot, yeah.
But I
Right.
just
I hear
feel
that a
like
lot.
I was a nuisance to them, you
Yes.
know, and I probably was. So I because I couldn't find any other place. So here I am. And they're like, we're busy.
Right,
You know,
right.
so I love it that you do that. And so you just come to me and do my fingerprint?
We offer
Either
mobile or
or.
in person. Yep. So we try to, that's part of our business model. We just try to make things as convenient for people as possible. So it's this, I've had that same experience as a nurse. I've had to do live scan and wet print. As an insurance agent, you also have to have those same things. And it's been something where I'm going to a service and I'm paying good money. I'm not going to throw any names under the bus or anything,
Right.
but I'm paying money to somebody and I'm being treated like I'm an intruder. And I'm like, wait just a minute here.
Well, because then it starts kind of making you nervous. Like, why are they treating, you know, like,
Right,
do they know
right.
something? I don't know.
Right.
They got to play something on me.
I've got a pretty clean background. I'm a nurse. I have an insurance license. I'm pretty clean, and I'm being treated like I did something wrong.
Right.
But it's because they have 82 other jobs. And this is
Exactly.
just another thing that
Exactly.
they've been handed to. So I get it. So I'm very excited that you do that. So you're a book writer, you're a fingerprint taker, you're a notary, you're some legal papers. Gosh, you guys do a little bit.
We have a
YouTube,
course. We
right?
do YouTube.
And-
We
It's
do.
been a busy year.
Do you bake cookies, honey?
I employ my children to bake the brownies. Our two girls love to bake brownies. So
I knew there had to be some chocolate involved somewhere.
yes, yes. Everybody has to learn to do something in
Yes,
our house.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So, is there anything else that we missed that would people would want to know about or looking to know about you?
So we do offer tax services. That is on an individual level only. So we don't do corporate taxes. I could be happy to recommend somebody who does those, but we only do individual tax returns just because of the process and the credentialing involved. And then that's kind of a boring subject, so I'm not going to talk much about that.
No, that's interesting that you do that. I did not know that about you either.
And we also do credit repair, which is kind of boring too, but basically what you're doing is you're looking for discrepancies in credit reports for people and then filing dispute letters for them. So same thing. That's a newer service that we've gotten into. I feel like that's probably going to be a very big industry, especially with the economics right now. So we thought that was something that was worth going through the training for and offering that service.
So, what's next then? Is there anything left in that future for you guys to take on?
I don't know.
I think we got a pretty good business model as it is. I
So
think
do
it's
I.
sustainable. So
I do too.
Yeah.
And you can train other people to do it.
Yes.
And I really love that about your service. Not only do you do all these wonderful things, but you're willing to share how to do it.
it's, there's like I talk a little bit about this before, like a scarcity where people always think that, if I don't, I fell victim to that a little bit myself. And she's like, I think we should teach other people. And I'm like, no, this is my baby, No.
I don't wanna give it away.
Like the Lord worked with me on it. He's like, no, just teach other people. Just go minister it.
You're
to other
only
people.
one person. You
Right.
can only
Yeah.
do so many things.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're a team effort, but
Right.
you know what I'm saying? There's still a lot of people in a lot of cities and a lot of states out there
So
Absolutely.
much.
that could learn
Absolutely.
from this.
They could
And
benefit from this, right?
we feel like we've been so blessed, like what we've learned in the past 3 years, that we want to bless other people.
Yes.
That this
Yes.
course is, I think it's just genius. I love it because it's such an affordable price, and we're handing you a turnkey career. Just like, here you go. This is exactly the blueprint that Mark and I
Right.
took.
I just love
where
that.
we go. So, I mean, I love it. We want
I
to
don't
bless
even-
other people with it.
And I don't even think it hit us entirely that level of it until it was a couple weeks ago. We were meeting with another Christian couple at Lulu's, and he's actually a pastor, but and so we had worked with her. We trained her, and it was like he just was like, no, you guys. were such a blessing to us that you gave us this opportunity, that you showed us this, that you share this. And then it really kind of started to go, oh, yeah, you're right. This is.
Well, I mean, you really encouraged me because, like I said, been one forever and never did anything with it. And
there's so much you can do now. I mean, there's so much.
Totally.
Yeah.
But see, I didn't think that's what I got it. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
I just thought
nobody does.
Right.
They're like, oh, you're just a notary. And it's like, oh, no.
but that's the old cliche.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now there's a new way. We've all learned so many new things these last few years.
Right.
And that's what I want to mention too, is that we did a YouTube video on, you don't have to, and I'm all for college and formal education, absolutely, but you don't have to always go that route. I was halfway through, a program in college at 25 when we moved here. And, now we run a business. So I didn't have to have that degree in order to do this. So anybody really can do this. We encourage our children, if you want to go to college, if you know what you want to do, absolutely, we'll support you. But you can also look at it in a different scope and think out of the box.
The entrepreneurs of America. Yeah. That's
absolutely. God's given you all these ideas. Mm-hmm. Just go with it, run with it. Don't be afraid. And
one of my favorite things is, I know I'm a lot older than you guys. You guys could be my kids, but is that at any age.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And, you don't know where you'll be at any age. I've been married forever, but something could happen, and then there's one income gone immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And so here is
it's good to have something in your
quick
back
and
pocket.
easy way, really, to start a business and compensate for that income.
Sure.
And why you're grieving or why you're struggling with, maybe you got sick and you don't feel like going to work 40-something hours a week, but you could do something to still have an income coming in. So I'm so happy I met you guys, and I thank you so much for sponsoring WAPN. And
absolutely.
I mean, we've had a great hour, but we're going to have to do it again another day. Okay. Well, just because I feel like now people have met you through WAPN, they've heard your spots for the last couple of weeks, and now they've got to hear and meet you as a real person.
Yes.
And so in a couple of months, we'll come back and do it again. As we go off, can you give us all that information one last time, please?
Yeah, so it's legaldocprepnotary.com, and that's Notary Prosperity Academy is our course, and you can reach us at
321-283-6452.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. And you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
God bless you.